Greetings, welcome to another interview with Friday 13th YouTube channel. Today you're going to be watching an interview with Rick Hughes from the band Sword. Now, Sword recorded a fantastic album back in the 80s called Metalized and also an album called Sweet Dreams. So the band are about to release their new album released in November and it's called 3 on Massacre Records. So please enjoy the interview, stay metalheads, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Fine, thank you, my friend. I see I've got the classic t-shirt on for you.
You do, yeah. And it looks pretty good.
We're talking to Rick from Sword, Canada's power metal band. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
And welcome to Friday 13th YouTube channel. So welcome back to the metal scene after so many years.
It's good to be back.
It certainly is. I mean, I almost saw you live back in 1986 with Motorhead in England.
Yes.
But
80,
unfortunately, I missed the concert because my friend's car broke down, so we missed the concert, and I was so pissed off I missed Sword live. I was gutted.
that's an awesome story. Look, I brought a poster back when I was on tour. I took one from the wall and I put it in my luggage and it came back home and it's right there on my
Awesome.
on my wall beside a letter that Lemmy wrote me while we were on tour, and it's signed to Rick Lemmy.
Oh, awesome. I met Lemmy when I was 12 years old, back in 1982. So,
He was he was the real deal.
yeah, he was. I remember interviewing him once, and he was such a cool guy.
There was no division from it was him on stage, it was him backstage, it was him on everyday life, and he was always the same.
Yeah, yeah. So, I'm going to ask you some warm up questions first, Rick. I'm going to ask you, as a singer, who inspired you to become a singer? Which vocalist inspired you?
Well, if I start at the very beginning, I would say Elvis Presley was really the first guy that influenced me to become a singer. And after Elvis Presley, there was a couple of French singer here because as you can hear on my accent, I I'm from Canada, particularly from Quebec, which is a French-speaking province in Canada. So my first language is French, although my ancestors, Hughes, were from the UK.
Okay.
So there was a couple of singers from here that influenced me a lot that you probably never heard of, but I'll name them anyway. A guy named Robert Charlebois. This guy influenced me a lot. He was very, he's still alive and he's still doing his stuff. He's really good. And but my biggest influence has got to be Robert Plant.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what about metal singers? What metal singers inspired you?
My favorite metal singer has got to be Bruce Dickinson.
Is there a reason why?
Everything about him. I mean, the tone. Let's start with the tone. The tone is perfect. And he's very he's got a good taste for melodies and bringing the lyrics up front in a song where there's not a lot of singers that can do that. Sometimes the music overshadows the lyrics and the music and the melody. I meant, but with Dick, but with Bruce, that never happens. His voice is always there in the mix, and you hear everything he's got to say.
All right. Okay. Anybody else like Rob Halford, Dio, any of those? With out of Saxon, any of those people?
Yes, right after Bruce Dickinson's, I would say Dio, Ozzy, Dio, Ozzy, Rob Alford, yeah, but mainly Bruce Dickinson and Dio. Those are my two favorite singers for metal.
Have you had? Did you ever get the chance to meet any of these people?
Well, I met, you know what? Yes, I met Dio at a NAMM convention in 1992 in the States. I was in Beverly Hills, California for a convention, and I heard that Ronnie James Dio was doing some kind of a seminar at 9 o'clock in the morning, and for I had a hell of a night the night before. I was hanging out with Lemmy and and well, I'm forgetting his name. Iron Maiden's first singer.
Oh, Paul Diana.
Thank you very much, Paul Diano. If he's listening, rest well, Paul. I know he's been under the knives for surgery, for knee surgery. I know his name very well. I just had a blank because I'm I'm in an interview. I love Paul Diano, by the way.
Yeah.
He's amongst my favorite singers. So I was hanging out with Paul Diano and Lemmy one night, and the next morning at 9 o'clock, I was attending a special conference with the Dio about metal singers and techniques and this and that, and I was there. And after, when everybody had left the room, I stayed till the end, and I had a chance to chat with him for a couple of minutes. He signed my pass, and that was it.
Absolutely awesome. That's great news. So, I mean, you guys formed back in the early 80s, didn't you? Back in 81, I believe, in Quebec.
Yes, yes.
So was that the first name that you had, Sword?
It was. It was my brother and I's first band. Mike Plant and Mike LaRock, guitar and bass, were friends, and they already had a band. They had a Kiss and Rush tribute band. They were 16 years old. Imagine, well, even at 16, they already were Mike and Mike. They were in a Rush tribute band. So my brother and I had just started, and we were rehearsing in our basement. I was playing the guitar and singing while my brother was banging on the drums. And I met the two mics by we were just shopping around in a store, and I started to talk to them, and I said, okay, so come and jam with us one night. And they did, and the rest is history. We've been friends since. That's 1981.
Wow. So that was the only name you had, Sword, for the band.
Yeah, that's the. Listen, we started out really meaning we the four of us were always really big lovers of music. So as soon as we started to play together, we were like 16, 17, 18. My brother was 18, the only guy that was 18 in the band at the time. And we were doing the classics, like if you take Robert Plant or Brian Johnson, what they were listening to when they were kids, while us, you have to go 10 years or 15 years later, So I was listening to Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath. So right away, we started to do the genuine classic rock stuff, So my vocal had to go up to par real quick because what I just mentioned were, I mean, come on, those, how can you even touch a singer like Brian Johnson, like when back then, Back in Black had just been released. It was a humongous hit. It was playing everywhere. And us, the cover bands, I had to replicate Brian Johnson's voice when I was like 17 years old. Man, that was tough.
Wow. So how many demos did Sword record before you got your record deal?
A couple, yeah. We right away we played the classics, because that's the way you were hired here, as playing cover bands, in bars, and so that's how we got stronger, like by playing a lot. We right from the get-go we started to write our own stuff. So our very first song we recorded were back in 93. First time we went into the studio. It took us a couple of years, to get going, and we did like 2 or 3 studio sessions, and at the fourth one, that's when we got signed.
Wow, because I mean, how was your music back when you were recording demos? Was it pretty much power metal then before you released your album? Was it developing that power metal sound for the demos?
It was, yeah. again, from the start, we had our own sound. I don't know why. It's hard to explain, but it's probably it's probably each member has his own influence, really, really deep. So when you mix them together, you get the sword sound. I swear. Listen, we took a pause for like a good 10 years that we didn't almost didn't play together at all for 10 years. We still stayed friends. We still stayed in the music scene. Doing some, I was a hired guns here in Quebec for TV shows and stuff, but we didn't play together for 10 years. And as soon as we called each other and we says, hey, we have an offer to go play some shows in Germany. Why don't we do it? Let's do this. So we said, okay, we'll do it. As soon as we started to rehearse, that sound that I haven't heard for 10 years, boom, it lighted it like a light bulb.
It's like pretty much like magic.
Yeah, and keep in mind that for approximately 10 years, we didn't play together. I did a lot of stuff. I played with some very cool and good cats. I mean, come on, big, really good stuff. No, nothing compared to Sword. Believe me, nothing compares to Sword. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
So I mean, the first album, Metalized, it's a cult classic. It's without a doubt, it's one of the greatest fucking power metal albums of all time. But the album cover is really weird. It's kind of like it's like a tube of a monster, not a monster, but it's metal, isn't it? And it's just like it looks like something off End of the World.
True, but what's cool about it is that everybody sees what he wants to see. You know what I mean? I see the intake of a 426 Hemi engine. That's what's used to put in the muscle cars. Like 1969 a Super B, a Plymouth Super B. It's a big car, man. And they put 426 Hemi engine. It's like a 7-liter engine. Me, I see that.
Oh, interesting, because I look at it and I see like this kind of monster with like red glowing eyes, and it's like I say, it reminds me of End of the World sort of film. Them sort of
And I see it.
sorry,
And I see an
War of the
engine.
Worlds, War of the Worlds. It reminds me of. That's what I was thinking of.
Nice, nice. I agree. Somebody told me the other day that he see that when he was looking at it, he was seeing the double barrel of a 12 gauge shotgun
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, that's kind of true.
pointing at you.
So the album title Metalized, who came up with the title? It's a great title for the first album.
I don't remember who came up with the idea, but it was a band thing that I remember. We were all sitting together and we had all the songs prepared. At the end of the night, Stoned Again, FTW, and it was a me thing, and somebody came up with the idea. Maybe I should ask a question next time we have a band meeting.
Okay, then, because you sound with Aquarius Records in Canada, but in England, I think it was GNR Records or GWR Records, which was Lemmy's Motorhead's label. How did you hook up with Aquarius Records?
We were recording some of the songs that ended up being on the Metalized for a demo to shop around with for record label, because at that time, as you remember, that's the way you would do it.
Yeah.
And while we were in studio, there was a photograph that was there to take the shots. And he said, listen, guys, I know a guy from a chorus record. They're looking for a metal band as yours to sign. You mind if I ask them to come and hear you out? And we said, yeah, of course. Next day, a guy from the record label was in the studio, and in the same week, the deal was signed.
Wow, because I know I think it was sound to Combat Records and Capitol Records had some involvement with that first album, didn't they?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So what are the territories we had? Combat, Aquarius, Capitol, GWR Records. What other labels kind of were involved on that first album?
Well, if they were involved after we recorded the songs and after we had done all the legwork, the sleeve, the artwork, everything was done. Once that was done, Aquarius Record released the album, and it's like anything in life. Once you release something, it's the music that does the talking. You don't have to do much talking with an album like Metalized. There was as soon as we released it, the metal critics all over the world gave us such good praise that it opened the door for all the companies. They came to us because we were in Kerrang magazine. We were in a lot of magazine, and it would give us like 9 out of 10, for a metal album,
Yeah.
So that's the way it works in life,
I mean, the first time I heard your band was on BBC Radio 1. On a Friday night, they had a radio show called The Friday Rock Show. And the presenter at the time, Tommy Vance, who's now dead, he used to play a lot of underground bands, and he introduced me to you guys, and I just went out and bought your record from a record shop in London called Shades.
That's great. That's great, man. For us, just the name, the BBC, BBC Sessions, Led Zeppelin BBC Sessions, the Beatles. Oh, man.
And now Sword.
One thing's for sure is that Sword's music is highly influenced by UK artists. Highly.
Yeah, I think a lot of bands around the world think highly of English bands because English bands started rock and metal anyway.
Yeah, it starts with Pink Floyd, and then it goes on with Zeppelin, and then with man, you name it. The Beatles. Mike's not here. Mike's our main man. He's the lead guitar for Sword. He's the main songwriter. He's the one that produced what's about to come out, My Plant, and he's the guy that came up with the phrase when we were talking about the Beatles. He said to me, Rick, the Beatles wrote the book.
So what songs from the first album are your favourites then, Rick? What's your favourite ones from Metalized?
My favorite song has got to be, I got a couple, but right off the bat, I'd say Dare to Spit.
Okay. Do you still play that in your set now? Is that one that you're going to play when you start touring again?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So how well did the album sell for you back in the day?
It did really good. Where we did real good with Metalized was, of course, Quebec, the province of Quebec. I didn't even say Canada because that's another story. And we did really good in Germany, secondly, and in the UK.
That's excellent. I mean, you actually supported Metallica, didn't you, on the Master of Puppets tour?
Yes, we did.
That must have been something, because I saw Metallica in England on the same tour a week before Cliff Burton died. So, did you get to meet Metallica on that?
So you saw Metallica with Cliff Burton?
Yeah, a week before he died. Anthrax were the support act. That's
amazing. I was with Anthrax a month ago. We were doing a show here in Quebec with Anthrax and Black Label Society.
Oh, cool.
And Hatebreed was there too.
Excellent.
But what was the question, Jason?
So,
Metallica.
Yeah, you supported Metallica. Did you get to meet them when you did that tour? Was it a tour or just one show?
It was a tour, and not only did we get to meet them, Jason. This is like a fairy tale story, but I never exaggerate the fact. I always tell it like the way it happened and the way it is. So here we are here in Quebec, and we're listening to Master of Puppets, and we're a metal band, and we are one of the well-known metal band of Quebec, and we're back in 1986. What I'm talking about. So we're riding around our car and listening to Master of Puppets. So I'm at home. The phone rings, and it's our manager, and he says, Rick, I got an amazing news for you. I says, what is it? He says, I just got a call from Metallica's management. They want you guys on tour with them. They love your album, and they really they're anxious to meet you.
Yes, it's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? A fairy tale story. So
Yeah,
so anyway, so we say yeah. So they start the advertisement, you know, sword with Metallica, and we see that everywhere, you know. And then the horrible accident happens
yeah,
where Cliff dies. So we hear the news and we go, wow, that's not wow, but you know, we were lost for words, you know, and so they postponed it. So let's say we were about to play like in a month. Cliff died. They postponed it 2 months after it. So we had to wait another 2 months, you know, before we get to meet the guys and everything. So the tour was canceled a second time because James had broke his arm. His
yeah.
arm.
He had his arm in a pot when I saw him live. He had John Marshall playing guitar for him, his guitar tech, who was in Metal Church. So
Exactly.
when I saw Metallica, there were a 5 piece on stage.
Yeah, Metal Church was with us on that tour too. I forgot to mention them. Yes, Metal Church with the original singer David,
Yeah.
singer. Yeah. So they had to postpone the tour a second time. So when we finally did it, you know, first show, we were really anxious to meet the guys because we were fans of Master of Puppets big time, and they were fans of Metalized big time. But we knew they liked it, you know, but not as much as they told us. So anyway, so first sound check, because sometimes when you tour with bands, you don't get sound checks. But with Metallica, you get a sound check. You know, these guys are musician. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
They want you to sound good. They want you to be good. You know, they know that they have their spot and nobody's gonna take their spot, whatever happens. You know, so that's what I loved about them from the start. You know, that we had a sound check. Wow, beautiful. So we're doing the sound check. We're playing the end of the night. I remember the song. So I see James and Lars on one side of the stage like this, and on the other side, uh, Jason, which had just replaced Cliff, and Kirk on the other side. You know, so I'm singing the song and I go, "Hey guys!" I stop the song so we can talk to them. You know, and you know what happened? They said, "No, no, no! Finish the song! Finish!" They wanted to hear the end of the night. They wanted to hear it. That's why they were there, because they love the song. You know? And
Wow.
I stop it. So I said, "Oh!" So I go, same place, 3, 4, boom. We start the song right where we had ended it. We ended the song. The sound check was finished with us. We said, "Okay, perfect," and then we went and meet the guys for the first time that way.
Awesome. So the next album you did was Sweet Dreams. I mean, I really like that album, but I have to say, when I first heard it, I was slightly disappointed because I didn't think the album was as heavy as the first album. Do you agree with me? Still a good album, but when I first listened to it, because I really like Metalized, it wasn't quite as heavy or the arrangements weren't quite as good, if you know what I mean.
Exactly, yeah. And you know, there's two ways to take it. You know, some people will say that they like Sweet Dreams better than Metal Eyes. Let's not forget that. Yeah, generally speaking, Sword fans will associate more with Metal Eyes. Some will think like you're thinking, but what you have to keep in mind is that our influence being Led Zeppelin, number one. The four members of Sword, if you ask each and every one of them, what's your favorite band? They will tell you Led Zeppelin, every one of them. I know my brother, that's his favorite band, John Bonham. My brother is the drummer, you know. Think about Led Zeppelin. If if you're really influenced by an artist as Zeppelin or as the Beatles, Mike's favorite, our main songwriter is Mike Plant's favorite artists are Zeppelin and the Beatles. Think about what the Beatles did on their first album, and think about Sgt. Pepper, and think about, I mean, it's totally different. They don't try to redo the first or the, we, Same applies to Led Zeppelin. If you think about Led Zeppelin, their first album, and if you listen to Led Zeppelin 4, it's totally different. Do you agree with me on
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I see what you're saying. So you moved on, obviously, to try something different, hoping that the fans would accept it. And some of the old school fans didn't, and some of the new fans did. So I get what you did it.
No, it's not that. It's not that. Thank you for what you just said. But what I mean by that is that it was a natural thing for us. You know, we didn't even said to ourselves at that time, okay, let's try to be as good as Metalized. No, we said, okay, let's do like Metalized and go with our instinct, with where we are right now as a man. You know, as a man, I had grown. You know, 2 years when you're in your 20s, you learn a lot of stuff, so
Yeah.
you change, you know. That's why Zeppelin, the Beatles, all those big bands, from album to album, it's totally different. It's never the same subject, the same sound, the same approach, because musically you're trying to do something different, and in a way it worked.
Yeah, I mean that album cover, it's got the snake with the skull, but it got reissued with a different cover later on, didn't it?
Yes, yes. But for the second, the cover art for the second album, we were okay with it. It's the record company that came up with the idea, because if you listen to the lyrics of Sweet Dreams, I can tell you what it talks about. I wrote the lyrics. It's about excessive drug use.
Okay.
That's what it's about. Excessive drug use. So at that time, lots of very dangerous drugs still to this day were taken by the nose.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a skull and the snake coming inside his nostril. It's like subliminal, you know.
Right.
So because they had talked to me about, we had decided to name the album Sweet Dreams. So they had asked me, they said, okay, we're going to hire some artists and try to come up with a cover. So give us a clue, explain the lyrics. So I did, and they came out with that. So basically what it tells you is that if you do drugs excessively, especially by the nose, it's a skull, you're going to die.
Yeah, true. So what songs from the second album, Sweet Dreams, do you like, Rick? What's your favourite songs from the second one?
Land of the Brave.
That's a good song. Is that in the set list, obviously, by the sounds of it?
It is in the set list. It's my favorite song, and I think, not I think, it's very, very, very accurate to this day. If you check out the lyrics and all the wars that are happening around the world and all the tension, it to this day it's up to date.
So how long did it take to record the second album?
It was I was gonna say it was a bit longer, but no, it took us both album. We took our time. We made sure everything was perfect to us. But the second album was produced by Jack Richardson and his son Garth Richardson. Did you know that?
I know Garth Richardson is, yeah. I didn't know that, but yeah.
He's behind Sweet Dreams. His father was a music legend here in Canada. His father, Jack Richardson, he did some stuff with Alice Cooper, the Guess Who. He's a music legend. So his son was taking over the family trade, I guess, as being a record producer. So he did Sweet Dreams, and right after that, he did Rage Against the Machine.
Wow. So the big question is, Rick, why did you break up after the second album? Because like you were on a good road, the things were going really strong for you guys, and the word was out, and then you just disappeared after 1988, 89. That was it.
Well, it's the 90s. The 90s were really, really, really hard on metal, on hard rock. You know, there was that old grunge
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
that culture that took a lot of oxygen out of the room for many, many hard rock and metal band. So I'm a family guy, you know. The proof is in the pudding. In my band, my brothers in my band, you know. I'm going to speak for myself. I'm a family guy. I got children. My firstborn was born in '89, and my son was born in '92. So, like I said, the grunge scene had taken all the oxygen out of the room. So it was either you get a job here, so the kids they don't miss out on anything, or take a break and wait till the grunge thing goes pass by and come back after. So that's what we did.
That's
So
such a shame because like after Sword broke up, you did Saints and Sinners.
yes,
That
exactly.
that's a good album. It kind of reminds me of Firehouse and Tarketo. That sort of vibe. Did you agree with me on that? Because that was you only did one album, and that was a really solid album.
True, but again, the grunge music killed that type of music for a while. It was there was nothing to do with a band like Saints and Sinners in 1994, let's say,
So
because
who inspired you to go that way then? For this new project you were doing, this new band, Saints and Sinners. What made you want to go for the Firehouse, Tarketo, Dokken sort of vibe?
I guess it's my quest to always try something different, so my voice doesn't doesn't stall, So that's the only reason I was approached to do that album, Saints and Sinners. I didn't write any of the songs. One song I wrote on the album that I was starting to write some songs for a solo album. So it's the song We Belong. That's the only song I wrote on that album. All the rest was written by the musicians and the band. One song was written by Bon Jovi. Another one was written by Rachel Bolan from Skid Row. So it was offered to me on a silver plate, So I said, yeah, the songs were good. I would love to sing on that. And right after it was released, that's when the grunge thing started to take flight. So it killed that too.
So did you ever think of like reforming Saints and Sinners instead of Sword? After
No,
later on, no.
no, because for me, Saints and Sinners was just so I could try something different with my voice, something more more I was gonna say melodic, but no.
More of a range for your vocals, basically.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, with ballads, and stuff like that. So when Saints and Sinners, this band, I started to work here in Quebec as a hired gun. Like I said, I sang everything, man. Gospel, blues, hard rock, name it, I sang it.
We're going to talk about the new album now, 3. Why did you come up with the title 3? Did you not have any other titles for this album?
Because I don't know. Again, it probably has to do with the influence we have deep in us, that when you think about it, as an artist, Sword, we're a group, but Sword is an artist, As an artist, the third album is like the foundation of the band when you think about it. It's like if you take a stool and you just put two bars, it's going to fall. But if you put a third one, there you go. This is it, This is it. Like Michael Jackson said once. This is it. 3. Yeah, it was unanimous. We were talking about titles and stuff, and every time we would come up with, it's our third album that a lot of fans around the world were never expecting to have had to listen. Lots of our fans had dropped the towels on us. They still listened to the first and second album, but they never thought we'd release that third album. So that's the reason why it's number 3.
Because I mean, you came back like in the 4 or 5 years ago, and you were doing like concerts. Because I've watched some of your YouTube footage of you like doing concerts in Quebec, and that must have got the surge for the fans. Like, come on, guys, do a new album. That must have really set the ball rolling for you.
Exactly, that's what did it for us, the fans, because of the enthusiasm but the fans, it was directed to us, on us, you know. Even on the internet, we were reading about the comments from the fans from the shows, and all that enthusiasm, it rubbed on us, and we went, okay, so let's write some new songs, let's do it.
Yeah, you must have had lots and lots of mails saying, "Come on, guys, you know you're doing live concerts. Are you going to do a new record? You've got to do something."
Oh yeah, we did.
That was awesome. So the title was only that's the only title you came up with then. So your brother produced the album, I presume,
Yeah, we did ourselves, but it's Mike Plant. That's the musical director behind everything from on this album.
right? So are you happy with the way the production's turned out for the album?
I'm more than happy. I'm really, really, really happy. I like everything about this album. I really do.
It's a very short album, means like because there's only 8 songs on it, isn't it? Did you think of just doing like a short album, make it powerful instead of making it so long and drawn out? Was that the reason why you ended it such a short album?
Yeah, well, we thought to ourselves that Metalized had such a great response from the critics, from the fans. It was a 30-minute album too. So we said, okay, so we're coming back after almost 30 years. Let's hit hard and let's make it fast.
Right then. So how did the deal with Massacre Records come about? Who did you approach for this new album?
um, Curiously, we still have um, some part of the old management that still look after the band. So a friend of ours, a friend of the band, his name is Pierre Paradis. So when he heard that we were recording some new stuff, he wanted to hear some. So we did, and he said, "Listen, guys, if you need anybody to shop around for a record deal, I'll do it." So we said, "Yeah, okay, find a record label for us." And he came out with a Massacre record in England, in Germany.
Yeah. Oh, okay then. So what other labels did you approach, or what other labels came to you when they found out you were reforming? What other labels were like showing interest in the band?
Well, you know, right now is a strange, is a weird time to be an artist, because the record companies that they don't operate like they used to. So they don't take anything for granted. You know, even if you have some kind of following, for them, if they sign you, it's like if they start from scratch. So maybe sometimes the age has got to do with it, because they will be looking for young artists, and they'll forget that there's some old dude, or should I say older dude, that maybe are a bit older, or sometimes quite a bit older, but they have the goods. It's them that have the goods. So personally, I think that the album we just made, our third album, is the best we've done yet. I think
Right.
I consider it, for my taste. I listen to Sword 3 a lot, more
Yeah.
than I listen to the two first ones. Sorry.
Yeah, because you'll be trying to absorb all the new material after so many years being away.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, how long did it take to record this album, Rick?
It took us a couple of months. After the recording and the music was done, then I came in and I did all my vocals. That took me a couple of weeks. That's it. I did,
So,
like,
so did
yes,
you write all the lyrics yourself, or was it a team effort?
it was a team effort. Yes, a team effort.
So, in the lyrical writing as well as music writing, or did you write all the lyrics yourself?
No, the lyrics was written by a friend of ours. His name is Rich Eugenio, and because I had some ideas here and there, and this guy was working with Mike Plant, our main man, on some other projects. So I asked him at that time, because he's very, 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 very clever with the English language. So I asked him to help me out to finish the sword songs. So it came about that he helped me more than just a little bit. He helped me a lot.
All right then, because the album was mixed by Glenn Robinson at Madden Wood Studios. Is that close by to you guys?
Yeah, well, I live on the south shore of Montreal, so it's like the country where I live. Right now, where I am, as you can see, this is my rock and roll garage. I live in the mountain, and down my street, there's a river. So where I'm about 40 minutes from Montreal.
Right. So, do you have your own studio at home? I guess you have your own recording studio to do all your vocals.
Well, yes and no. I have some devices to make my demo, my personal demo. But if I want to record some professional vocals, I don't do it here. I go at Glenn's studio or Mike's studio or yeah.
So, did you record this album all together in the same room, or did you do it separate? Because like Kirby was still hanging around.
It was from the beginning to the end. It was a collective effort. So when Dan was and Mike LaRock was doing the bass,
Yeah.
that's how you record heavy heavy metal music. The bass and the drum together. Mike and I were there, so I was singing. Sometimes I was mumbling because the lyrics were not even finished, but I was there, so to let them know, okay, the lyric starts there. Okay, now it's going to be the chorus. Okay, this is the change. And Mike was directing everybody, and so we did that like that. After Mike Plant put all his guitar works, and not all of it. He did some guitar works, and then he says, "Okay, Rick, time for you to come and do your stuff."
So you were humming the harmonies then to the guitars to give the band some ideas what your vocals were going to be like in the future.
Yes, exactly. You need some kind of you need a locomotive to get the proper lyric and the proper attitude for each song.
Right then. So what's your favourite songs off the album, Rick? The new album. How do you compare this album to the two previous albums? Because you've come back heavy. Obviously, you've got to come back with a modern sound and kind of a different style, but you don't want to stay in the 80s. So you've kind of combined old school with new school. Do you kind of agree with me on that?
I agree on you 100%. It's your vision, and it's the way you hear it. Somebody else will hear it differently. Somebody else differently. Everybody's got their own mind, and you're allowed to your to your opinion. If somebody comes to me and says, "Listen, Rick, I'm really, really disappointed on the third album. I would have wished it would have been like the first one." My response would be very easy. It would be, "It's impossible," because we're not that kind of artist who repeats itself album after album. I'm as a singer, I always try not to repeat myself.
Right.
So yeah, so to answer your question about what's my favorite song on this album, it's my favorite song is "Took My Chances."
Okay. Why is that particular song your favourite?
Because I love what it says. I love what it means, and I love the way the sound of my tongue, the voice, the bridge part where it goes up there. It shows that, listen, if you take care of your instrument, you still can sing all your life, man. All you need to do is be very aware that it's very fragile.
Right then. I mean, the first single you released is "I Am in Command." How did you feel to release that as a video, promotional video? Was that something that you and the record company talked about, or was it just you guys said, "Look, we're going to do this as a video to the record company"? How did it work?
It was just us guys. We were rehearsing for a show, and we said, "Listen, guys, the album's going to come out one day, so we need to do some videos for it." So we called a couple of friends, and we rented some nice spaces, and we recorded a couple of videos. And
Yeah.
this is one of the two we recorded. So there's another video coming out, and it's a different location. It's a totally different video.
So
But
what's the next song you're going to be doing? Because like you say, you've only done one video at the moment, I believe.
the next song we'll be doing is when you ask me what is my favorite song.
Right. That's right. Okay. That's the
it was
video.
it was us between "Took My Chances" and the video that's coming out next month or in November. It's the song is called Dirty Pig.
Okay.
Dirty
So,
Pig.
I mean, I'm looking at like Bad Blood. That's a really good opening song. You got Unleashed from Hell, Spread the Pain, Took the Chance, Not Me, No Way, Surfacing. You know, some really cool titles on there. And I mean, like you said, it's a very different album from the other two, but it's still Sword. It's good that you've kept the four original members. So there's a good brotherhood there. I mean, there's you and your brother being brothers, but to have the four members come back, the originals, it's like a brotherhood. Really strong unite between you all.
Exactly, and like I said earlier in the interview, even after many years of not working together, but still working each on our side, as soon as we got in the same room and we took the amp on and I took my microphone, it was like the sound was there, it was back. You know that sound, the sword sound, and and again, you know, I some really hardcore fan here in Quebec have we did a listening party a couple of years back, you know, before the pandemic, because we were supposed to release the album then, and hardcore fans were talking to people, not to us, and they were saying, "Man, this album is good. It's the continuity of what Sword was and what is today, you know." So
So you
so yeah,
think you think after all this time, Sod would have come up with this album now anyway? This would have been the style, like 10 years. If you'd have done 6 albums before this, you still would have been in this position now for this new album.
not necessarily, because, like you said, when you mentioned earlier that uh, you have to have a modern sound. Having a modern sound is very easy. You just take the technology that's there today, you know.
Yeah,
That and that.
Cubase, and all that, Pro Tools, and
Well, not yeah, but you know, when we recorded Metalized, it was all on tapes.
yeah, it was all the
So
reels, wasn't it? The reels, the big reels.
yeah, yeah. So you could do some punch ins and this and that, but hey, man, and there was no click track, so you had to follow some kind of, you know, everything was done by hand.
A lot harder back then than it is now.
So exactly, there was not a lot of effects at that time. No processors, no nothing. So now it's all integrated into the studio. So even if you don't want to do sound um, modern, you will sound modern because it's in the studios. You know, it's there.
I
There's
mean,
nothing.
I'm looking at the artwork. It was done by R.L. Black. Was it? Oh, Mike Plant. Sorry, directed. You know, I mean, the cover's really good because like you got a heart with three swords in it. Who came up with that idea?
Mike Plant.
Right.
It's the tarot card.
Okay. Which tarot card is it?
The tarot card with the heart and with the three swords in it.
What does that mean for people that don't know? What is it? What tarot card does it symbolise? What's the
I
concept?
I can't remember.
Is it strength? Is it strength, unity, or something like that?
You know, I'm the kind of guy that when he doesn't know it, when he forgot something, he goes on Google and he searches it right away. But I don't want to do that right now.
Right, and so when do you think you guys are going to be touring? Is it obviously next year because it's too near Christmas now? You must have plans for playing festivals in Europe next year and probably England as well. Is that going to happen?
No, I sure hope so. Yeah, it's in my dreams. It's in my demands to the universe to go back to the UK.
So when was the last time you played the UK? Was it the Motorhead tour? Was that the only time you played?
It was the only time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I missed it, and I'm so pissed off.
Because of it. Yeah, because the car let you down.
Yeah, it was like I was so fucking pissed off, man. I was like, my friend was a big Motorhead fan, and I really wanted to see Sword. I was like, what are we gonna do? It's like we missed a really good concert. Brilliant.
Uh, uh, Man, we had such a good following on that tour back in the UK. We knew that we had some fans, you know, but diehard fans that we didn't knew. We learned it when we were there.
Wow. So when do you think you're gonna be touring then? Have you got any festivals planned for next year, like Keep It True or Bang Your Head Festival?
Well, the management has already checking out the demands, and I cannot announce anything because they haven't even started to do the red tapes for many of the. Let's not forget we're from Canada, so just to take the plane right now from Canada is a bit complicated.
Right then. So where would you like to play in Europe if you had the chance? What countries if you've not been to yet?
I'd love to go back to UK, that's for sure, because I got so much fond memories of England, Scotland, Wales. Oh man, with Motorhead, imagine that. It was crazy. So I'd love to to go back there and see how, because things have changed. I guess it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I mean, you must have been really happy for a first album to tour with Motorhead. You just released your first album, it's like, holy shit, we're playing with a band so big, so influential to other bands. You must have been like shitting yourselves, thinking, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were, and my brother and I were big Alice Cooper fans when we were kids, and we got to tour with Alice Cooper. That was a big highlight too, and Sword's career, the Alice Cooper tour, because this guy influenced us a lot here in North America with his theatrical and his mean guy thing. The attitude, the Alice Cooper vibe is something.
Right then, so I'd like to thank you for doing this interview, Rick. Do you have anything to say to the people watching this on YouTube?
Well, listen, Sword fans, we're really happy to be back. We've recorded an album with our heart. It shows on the sleeve, and we hope to tour the UK. We hope to tour everywhere around the world in the next coming year.
But hey, Rick, well, thank you for doing this interview. Be safe.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Sword fan. I mean, I grew up listening to you guys, so Metalized fucking rules.
Yeah, well, thank you for being there for us for this album.
And I'm still here for the future.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay,
Mason.
thank you. Au revoir. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Cheers, Messi. Cheers, Rick. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.